Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Alyssa, and on the channel I create budgeting content, planning content, and side hustle content. So if any of that does sound interesting to you, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button and follow along on my journey to paying off over $200,000 in student loan debt. That was the total amount I started with. I got to do a quick update and see how much that is at today. But on this video, we will be closing out October 2023's second half of the budget, and then also cumulatively at the end, the entire budget for October. So this is my expense tracker from the second half of October, so the 15th through the 31st. As you can tell, I use the Budget Moms highlighter method. I have every color is associated with a budget category, and that helps keeps me organized for where my money is going. So here's the expense tracker. I've added everything up, and that'll be helpful as we do close out the end of the month here. So starting with the inflow for my W-2 paycheck, so my full-time job was $1,800. Side hustle income was $240. Savings, we ended up not bringing anything over. And then payback, which was from my work for some expenses in September, was $1,014. So total inflow for the second half of October was $3,054. Going down to fixed expenses here, rent was $400, utilities was $100, Spotify was $11, student loan, which I'm now considering a debt, and I do highlight all of these to help me with the budget category closing out at the end, so that's why I highlight them. So student loan is a debt now at $300, car insurance $65, my boxing gym $93, Peacock $6, LA Fitness $50, Acorns $40, Roth, which I have with Merrill Lynch, was $45, and therapy was $25. So everything was exactly as I budgeted. So the total fixed expenses for these 2 weeks was $1,135, leaving me left over with $1,919. So down to variable expenses here, grocery was over budget at $130. Eating out was also over budget at $170. Gas and car was $52. Investment was over by just $2 at $22, which is totally fine. Fun entertainment was vastly under budget, which was surprising. I think I just don't have a whole lot going on, honestly. And I feel like I'm going to spend more than I actually will. But going to like different sporting events, I've really gotten I would say a science down to saving money. That is like bringing my own food, eating before I get into the game, or bringing my own drinks. So that only cost me for fun and entertainment was $16. Holiday $0, self-care $50 is normally just for my nails. Miscellaneous was $55, just $5 over budget. Travel and vacay was $0, and pets was $0. Pets I always budget $28 for, which is the equivalent to a bag of litter from Pretty Litter. I have a subscription with them, but I have, I think two at this point, extra bags of litter because I don't change it as often because my cat has 2 litter boxes. So she changes off which one she uses. So I don't really need this. And so I actually have postponed it until I think for like a couple of weeks, like I skipped this week. So that's why I didn't end up having it. So $495 was the total for variable expenses, which subtracting what was left over from fixed expenses, which gives us $1,424. Going up towards sinking funds, remember all side hustle income goes towards sinking funds. So deductible was $30, medical expenses $25, 2024 vacation $35, car maintenance $25, self-care $25, future fund $40, vacations $30, pets $30. So that did total us $240. And that left us with $1,184. So moving down to debt, which I know this says extra debt. You're supposed to put your minimum payments in your fixed expenses. I am always paying way more than my minimum payment for credit card. So I just put it here. I know some people don't like that, but it's just how my brain operates. I like the separation of debt and extra savings. So for Alaska Airlines, the payback here from work all went towards the Alaska card. So I put $1,126 and then $60 towards my Discover card, which was a total of $1,186 that I put towards debt. So that left us with just basically negative $2, which is just really due to rounding. My budget after this was $0. or my checking account, I should say, was $0. So I am comfortable with that negative $2. It's likely just due to I rounded up on a lot of these different numbers. So that was the second half of October, the 15th through the 31st, closing out this budget here. Now we're gonna move on to the end of the month, like closing out basically all the budget categories. You guys know I don't do the debt payment plan or the monthly net worth tracker. I actually have an Excel sheet from Dear Debt, she's here on YouTube, that I use for all of this. So that's been more helpful than writing it out. The Excel sheet or Google Sheets does it all for me. But going over to the monthly category breakdown. So for the starting balance was obviously $0. Earned income was $3,601, and that is just from my W-2 paycheck. Other income was $1,439, just like side hustle income, payback, anything like that. And savings used was $0. So my total inflow was $5,040 for October, which is crazy to like think about. And I'm like, where did that money really all go? Like, I feel like I don't have a whole lot of fixed expenses or variable expenses, but truthfully, it's like going to credit card debt right now because I am buried somehow again. But my goal, cross my fingers, by the end of the year is that's all gone. So I think it's pretty achievable for me. You can see the breakdowns with the monthly budget, what I had budgeted, what I actually spent, the difference. So if it's negative, I went into the negative for that category. If it's positive, it means I had money left over in that category. And then obviously the percent of total monthly inflow. So how you calculate this is you take the monthly spend, so you type that in 301, divided by 5040, and it'll pop out the percentages for you. Well, then you have to times it by 100 if you don't want to do the decimals in your head. But the only two categories I was actually over budget was grocery and miscellaneous for the whole month, which is so crazy. I don't think I've ever had a month where it's only been two categories. Normally it's multiple categories. Obviously things I like to be over in is debt, investments, and savings, but that just didn't happen. I was over in grocery and miscellaneous. So I think I guess it's great. Like, I'm making progress in some areas of my budget, which I'm very happy with. Where did my money go for the monthly debt and savings breakdown? So total monthly inflow obviously was $5,040. Total monthly debt payoff was $1,804, which was 36% of my inflow. So 80% of that went towards the Alaska Airlines card, 3% went towards Discover, and 17% went towards my student loans. So you'll see student loan here and a student loan here, which really what happens is the second half of October, I counted as a debt. The first half of October, I counted as a savings. Going forward, it will always be counted as a debt, so you won't see it in both. It's just how I was budgeting at that time because my student loans weren't due. So moving over to the monthly debt and savings breakdown, normally these two numbers are not the same, but because I didn't use any savings, I was able to use the same number as the income. But total monthly savings was $725, and then 14% of my total income was saved. 41% of that was student loans, and 59% of it was sinking funds. I'm really hoping I can get out of this credit card debt sooner rather than later, so I can actually start putting all that money towards sinking funds. It's been just such a pain, and I'm so frustrated with myself, to be honest with you guys, that I got into this credit card debt, and I just like can't stop swiping my credit card. Like, I don't get it. I'm just so all about like, oh, let me just swipe it, and it's like I can just make a payment, blah, blah, blah. It's like a whole game I play with myself, a whole mind game. Like, the psychology of credit cards and budgeting and spending money is so fascinating. And I know why, like, so many people don't have credit cards, but you like almost have to have credit cards to be able to build your credit. You can do it other ways too, but obviously credit cards are the most, in my opinion, like from my experience, like the most everyday way to do it. Like, you're not buying a car every day, you're not buying a house every day, but credit cards you could be using every day, and that's like creating credit. Anyhow, so I'm trying to get out of that credit card debt, moral of this story. But I hope this video was helpful in terms of like how I close out my budget. This video was a lot shorter than normal because I think I've already like done everything, and I'm like, okay, let's just film it, get it up, and go. So yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you watching my video. Make sure you give this a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye, everyone.